Oh, maybe remove them as a participant.
You think that's what we need to do? Okay, sorry guys, give us 1 second. I'm trying to figure out how to remove them. That's what's so weird. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm so
Unless they give us the recording at the end, and then we can just edit this part out.
right. Right.
All right, Anne
Okay.
Marie left. It's just Jody's now.
Okay, but it says recording, and so I'm really hoping it's us recording. I just don't know.
It shows the record under both Blair and Beth's name on the chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Oh,
much. Okay, we can
good.
start. I think we're good.
All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Beth, and I have Sarah and Blair tonight, and we're going to talk about the healing power of peptides. And so we'll start first with, I love this slide because every single one of these women, when we were in the Dominican, has a healing story with peptides. So most of you might have started by hearing about Ozempic, Zepbound, the GLP-1 GIP medications, because that came first on the scene with a lot of not even really understanding that that was a peptide. So I'm going to first start by educating what it is. And then you're going to hear three very different and very much the same unique stories. What we're here to talk about tonight is our personal story and then our connection with like how we went about, it felt like a scavenger hunt in finding a safe and supportive pharmacy doctor network and community for me to like dive in and I felt like not be on a scavenger hunt every month when I was looking for my prescription. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So the first thing that I want to do is just explain what is a peptide. So peptides are like messengers. They're short chains of amino acids that tell your body what to do to repair tissue, burn fat, build muscles, calm inflammation, boost collagen, and more, depending on the peptide and depending on what you need. So let's talk about how a peptide is like a text message. That if you imagine that your cells send and receive the text message, each one carries instructions that help your body remember how to function at its best. So I like to describe myself before I started on my peptide journey as an old flip phone. I was like, AOL, not operating, like dial up, everything. None of the messages we're getting, they were like blocked because of inflammation and age and just like a worn out system. My body already knew how to heal. It's how I was created. And peptides are the reminder for that. So I don't know, maybe you are new or maybe you're on a peptide journey, but if you can relate to feeling like an old flip phone or AOL dial up, like put up your hand. Sarah might not even know what AOL dial-up is, an AIM, right? So when you think about I'm going to talk about GLP-1. So that was the first peptide and this is very simple because I was always the one that was asking people like Sarah for help when I was in science. So I was like, I asked ChatGPT, like, if explain this in the simplest way that a first grader can understand. So imagine that your organs, your body, your brain, your stomach, they're all in a group chat and you take your GLP-1, GIP, for me, it's tirzepatide. Maybe my brain is saying, oh, I'm starving again. My cravings are wild. That was a really big problem for me. The stomach, then it sends a message. The stomach already empty over here, sends snacks. The pancreas, blood sugar is climbing. I'm doing my best. GLP-1 steps into the group text message and says, everyone chill. I've got this. Hey, brain, tell her she's full. Message sent. The brain, got it. Fullness, message sent. That's the food noise. The GLP-1 sends the message to the stomach. Slow it down, no rush to empty. Let's remain full for longer. And the stomach says, copy that, digesting at a steady place. I love that Blair and Kelly are like, what in the heck is going on here with this, with Beth's little show? And then I need to move you guys because you're here. And then the pancreas, balance that insulin, keep things smooth. And the pancreas is like, done, blood sugar stable. What happens when everybody's in a group chat and the GLP-1 is sending those messages? a great team effort, cravings are calm, energy steady, and your body's in sync. And the cool thing is we have all these different peptides like that send all these different messages so that we can like reignite and reboot our bodies. So one of the things that I want to share is like, okay, peptides sound amazing. Where do I get them? And when I first started my journey, it was actually a mutual friend of Sarah's and Blair's. And she was like, people are losing weight. And this is like that. And I kept hearing the commercials about Ozempic, that, Ozempic. I'm like, that doesn't sound like something I would want because I wasn't educated. I wasn't educated in that my body was like needing to have this peptide so that I had gained steadily over 10 years of perimenopause and menopause. Imagine gaining 5 to 8 pounds a year. That's not that much, but I was steadily gaining. I'd lose 5, gain 8, lose 5, gain 8. My insulin levels were off. My inflammation was high and menopause was kicking my butt. And I was so discouraged. I was a person that was always going to start on a Monday. And our friend actually sent it to me, but I had no idea. Like I didn't have any place to go. I could trust her, but I didn't have a telemedicine portal that we have with Ellie. I really didn't even know if it came from a pharmacy. I didn't have dosing instructions because it was like early on. So then I started watching the stories and started listening to podcasts, worked with a functional medicine physician. And I realized like this could be my answer because I was sick and tired of starting again on a Monday, low carb, low calorie, and then feeling like everything that I was doing it was just a failure. So when I was able to consistently stay with the correct dose, working with somebody that could support me and truly understanding what was going on in my body, the inflammation, the food noise, and the weight started to drop. And so I was not a fast loser, and I didn't want to be a fast loser because I wanted this to be long-term. And as I was rewiring my body, my brain was also rewiring with the belief of, wait a minute, it's possible for me to actually lose weight post-menopause. And it's possible for me to actually start having new habits because all of a sudden it was one thing at a time. Oh, I'm full. It was that pause. So the GLP-1 GIP tirzepatide was where I started. And it was like, there would be that cue that was like, oh, I'm hungry. And then there was no pause for me to determine what my body really needed. When I started with the GLP-1, it allowed me the pause to say, what do I need right now? And how do I best nourish my body? And so that was the beginning of me understanding that it was so much more than just, oh, I feel full. It was an actual rewiring. And then the beliefs started to build underneath, like the help with the medication of, oh, I am a woman who takes miraculous care of myself, loses weight post-menopause, strength trains, eats protein. And it was the compound effect with that help, with that boost of the peptide. And then from there, I added NAD, glutathione, and all kinds of things. And also talked to my primary care physician and soon to come to Ellie about balancing my hormones along with it. So I like to say it's like the gateway to longevity. So with Ellie, before we go on to our next two stories, what I wanted to do was share this. And I had talked with Blair very early on and introduced her to our functional medicine friend and thousands and thousands of dollars. Worth it for us, but like accessibility is huge. And so when I discovered that there was a telemedicine platform that was like not using things like research grade peptides, but FDA vetted ingredients in a 503A pharmacy, that you actually have a provider, you're a pointer. So I was like, listen, I want to share this with my friends. And that's why we're here with the power of peptides, because what we have going on at Ellie and what you'll hear in these stories, it's so much more than weight loss. We're a longevity platform. We'll soon have diagnostics, but we're dealing with sexual health, cellular regeneration, building lean muscle, and the mindset and the energy and the mental health aspects behind what it takes to live longer lives so we can keep the people that we love around here for longer. So what I want to do right now is it's the power of like just sharing one story. So one of the most incredible transformations that I have been able to be a part of is watching my dear friend Blair go from like she's taking pretty good care of herself. Like we thought we were pretty cool back then in the, I don't know, like 12 years ago. And then we saw some pictures and we're like, ooh, we were inflamed and fluffy, but we were, we thought we were good, until you realize how good it can get. And then I'll let her share the rest of the story, because it's not just a transformation of size for her. It was just an entire way that she rebuilt every part of her life through the power of peptides, faith, and intention. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Blair.
Wow, thank you. That was quite the intro. Well, I am forever grateful for Beth introducing me to not only LAMD, but also peptides, because she introduced me to the functional PA that we both utilize. And so my story actually began back in 2021 during COVID. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And at the time, I did think I was actually pretty healthy at the time. So I was a little bit shocked, because I was already one of those people that was like trying to be really careful about what I put on my body, in my body, but not super picky. But I would say like I probably knew more than the average person. And I was really shocked when I found out that I had ovarian cancer, and it definitely threw me through a loop. But in those situations, you have a choice, right? You can either look at this as this is something that happened to me, or this is something that happened for me. And I decided to go the route of this is something that happened for me. And so I utilized that time during my chemotherapy and being stuck at home because it was COVID and they didn't want me to get sick, to really dive into holistic health, functional medicine, integrative health. And the reason I'm sharing all of that is because I went down those rabbit holes. And really, just so you know, why I went down those rabbit holes were two things. One, I was utilizing a lot of holistic things at the same time as my chemo. And with this being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I like to pull a little bit of that in, because I did go the route of choosing to do chemo and some surgeries, but I also added in other modalities. And what I realized was they really helped me feel okay during chemo, when I would see other people, literally their body just falling apart. So that's what made me go, okay, there's something to this world. Plus, ovarian cancer has a very high risk of coming back, and I wanted to make sure I did something to biohack my body. So fast forward, I researched and learned a ton during that time. And one word that kept coming up in every single thing that I read was peptide, and understanding what peptides were and how they could heal your body. So as soon as I got the okay from my oncologist, I started on them. But that was about 8 months after I was done with chemo. And during that 8 months, I was medically thrown into menopause, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. So if any of you guys are right now in menopause, like, feel the love with me in the chat and tell me, like, what is the worst thing you're experiencing? For me, it was 10 to 15 hot flashes a day. And by the way, when you live in South Florida, it's super embarrassing, because like I'd be scared to get up from the chair. I'd be scared there was like sweat, like pool sitting there. But also I had like hip pain and foot pain and foggy brain. I would jumble words, which was really freaky. Had lots of anxiety and irritability, which I've never really had in my life. Itchy skin, itchy ears, like you name it, I had it. So fast forward, yes, Mariana, I feel you. So fast forward, 8 months went by, and during that 8 months, I had all those symptoms, and I tried every holistic thing out there except for peptides. Nothing worked. But I'll tell you what else happened. I gained 30 pounds in 8 months. And when you are 5 feet tall like I am, that takes you from a size 2-4. Sarah's like, I know, because we're both short. It takes you to like a 10-12. Okay. And I was just so inflamed. I felt like a sausage. Like it just, everything felt tight. It's hard to explain. So I started first with, well, 8 months, I decided to not wait a year. I decided 8 months was long enough. Nothing was working, and quality of life was more important to me. And I trusted what I had read and researched, and trusted my functional doctor. And so I started first on NAD and glutathione. If you're not familiar with these two longevity products, they are two of my absolute favorites. NAD is cellular regeneration, anti-aging. Tony Robbins calls it the king of anti-aging, and he is right, because it helps with mood, energy, mental clarity, but also reducing inflammation, and helps like you just look beautiful. Plus, I added in glutathione at the same time, which is a master antioxidant, which helps your body to detox. It also helps your body, helps your lymphatic system, helps keep away free radicals, which can actually keep away cancer. Yes, there's medical research on that. And it helps with hair, skin, and nails. So, of course, I wanted my hair to grow back great. So that was a no-brainer. By the third injection of those two products together, I had 90% of my menopause symptoms go away. And that's when I was like, okay, I trust you, to that functional doctor and said, I'm ready to try what's next. And she said, what's next is GLP-1 because you need to reduce inflammation, lower your cholesterol, which was a side effect of the estrogen blocker. If you know anybody who's had breast cancer, ovarian cancer, if it's estrogen driven, they put you on a pill called an estrogen blocker for 5 years post cancer. And it does a lot, it wreaks a lot of havoc to your body, a lot of side effects. And so one of those side effects is cholesterol. So instead of going on statin, I chose this path. And within 6 months, I dropped 33 pounds, I say, of inflammation because it really felt like my body was just so inflamed. But the best part was my cholesterol dropped, my thyroid health got better, my A1C got better, my liver enzymes got better. They were a mess after chemo. My kidney health got better. And I take a blood test called CA-125 for my cancer marker. It was 168 when I found out I had cancer, 20 to 25 after. Since I have been on GLP-1 for the last 3 years, it has been 7 or 8. That is just huge because it's showing how the inflammation is really out of my body. So I am forever grateful for peptides. I am so thankful that I said yes to not only listening to my friend Beth, but listening to our functional PA and just all the things that go along with that were really just imperative for what happened next. And this journey has not only helped me to feel better, to show up better, but I truly believe it was a gift from God handed to me so that I can impact and help other people that are going through different things. Because the healing power of these peptides, I have seen time and time again, whether it's just physical, that they needed some help, whether it's mental, whether it is because they have autoimmune, they have something going on in their body, maybe they have cancer, all these different things. I have been able to truly impact and help other people and point them in the direction of something that could maybe possibly help them. But guess what? I don't decide if this is right for them. A medical doctor does through the company that we're partnered with. I just point, share my story, and let people know the information that I know. But it's really between them and a medical doctor if it's right for them and approved for them. And then they have access to that patient portal to go back to. So thank you so much, Beth, for letting me share my story. And I feel like it's just super special this month in October because I know it's breast cancer awareness, but I really believe it brings a lot of awareness to cancers that a lot of women suffer with. So thanks, Beth.
Oh my gosh. Every time I hear your story, it gives me chills. And your message is helping so many people to, like, just first of all, just really know. I remember you talking to me and you didn't have a diagnosis right away, but you were like, I just am trusting there's something going on. There's something wrong. And that is like the key when we're dealing with anything, that a diagnosis or even menopause symptoms. I want to share this and then we get to hear this fabulous next story is like they will look at low testosterone and estrogen and tell you need an antidepressant. There are some people that really do need the antidepressant, but sometimes you know the best. Or if you've ever been told, eat less, move more. That's the only way to lose weight, instead of looking at some of the other ways that we can reduce inflammation and insulin level spikes and things like that. Like that's the whole piece of when Sarah is the reason we are all here, because I had posted, I want to take the shame out of the GLP-1 story. I didn't know how that was going to look and how that impact would take place. But I was like, I'm not going to tell people that my shake and my sticker on my arm are how I've lost this weight. I want to really share this message in a truthful and honest way, because that was who I was. I also love businesses and making money. So I was like, oh, and community. And this nights like this. So Sarah's like, hey, I want to connect you with this telemedicine platform and this incredible CEO and female founder. And that's how we all ended up with LEMD. Sarah's story is very unique. And I just want her to pop on and share with you guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I love sharing on these, but I also just love hearing all these stories too and how life-changing it is. I was talking with somebody today and I was telling him, I do anesthesia for a living. Okay. I do some in-house 24-hour call shifts and do trauma and bigger cases. I work in an IVF clinic. I also work in an endo center in the past. I used to work in plastic surgery, so I've done a lot of different things in anesthesia. And this has truly been one of the most fulfilling jobs, but it doesn't really feel like a job because I love doing it, right? That I've honestly ever had, because You meet so many people that have had such life-changing results, with these peptides. And my story with them started about 3 years ago. And I was at like an anesthesia conference. Mutual friend with Beth she actually launched an entire like weight loss peptides wellness like program in her med spa, and she's like one of the first to do it. Now they train other med spas and clinics all over the US on how to do the same thing, but she was deep into it with her, and it was a nurse practitioner, and she looked amazing. I was like, how in the world? Like, I've been friends with her, you guys, for 12, 15 years, right? She looked like she not just like a glow. She lost the weight too, but she almost looked like she was like a little bit like aging in reverse. I was like, what are you doing? I've known you a long time. And she started telling me about GLP-1s, which I knew what they were because they're a type 2 diabetic medication. So my patients would be on it, but still, we didn't realize what was coming out is all the incredible longevity benefits of it too. And I was there at a time where I have been through, gosh, I mean, 10 plus years of infertility, IVF, miscarriages over and over again, hormone levels all over the place. I gained a lot of weight. I'm only 5 feet tall. I was in a dark place, and I was like, get me on these peptides ASAP, So I had to jump through every single hoop 3 years ago to finally get prescribed, because there wasn't like a telehealth platform even available or in existence at the time. I was able to get prescribed Wegovy, and I lost about 50 pounds. I felt amazing. I had some side effects because it wasn't very personalized. And I also did not get any sort of support from my primary care physician because it was so brand new. They honestly didn't know what to do. They were like, we'll prescribe it for you, but like, you're kind of on your own. This is a newer medication. So once I got to a certain point, insurance stopped covering it. I was like, I would love to stay on and do like more of a small dose. That's how I came across LEMD, because I wanted to find a place that had top of the line pharmacies. And of course, I had to go to my friend who owns the med spa. I'm like, look at all the pharmacies that LEMD is partnered with. These are the good ones. She's like, they're not just good, but one in particular, she was like, I can't even get good pricing at this one because it's such a great pharmacy. Ellie must have some sort of great connection and relationship to be able to get this high quality of peptides at the pricing that they can offer people too. That's really what kind of sold me on it too. So long story short, I stayed on it, did more of a microdose, and we decided to do one last Hail Mary of an embryo transfer. Gosh, that would be a few months ago now. I'm now 24 weeks pregnant after so many years. And you guys, I'm 42 years old. I'm not young, and I truly had given up. I'd given up, and I was like, if this works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I truly do believe, and there's a lot of data out there. You can go ahead and look it up yourself. Okay. So I'm not trying to make a medical claim. But when it comes to the inflammation, and thanks you guys for all the hearts too. We're really excited. I'm like, I better not like cry during this. I'm very hormonal right now. But as far as like inflammation goes on these GLP-1s, you hear a lot of like just subjective stories about it. A lot of people are getting pregnant on these because that helps with inflammation, and just losing weight makes it much easier for people to get pregnant. There's more and more IVF clinics getting their patients started on GLP-1 meds and referring them to different doctors or places or telehealth companies like ours to set them up for success for IVF rounds. There's also a ton of data out there on NAD is absolutely incredible for your egg quality. And that's really where a lot of people struggle with fertility. It's their egg quality. That was my issue. If I wish I had access to LEMD 10 years ago. I wouldn't have been going, but at the same time, I have a 9-year-old, and he's like the light of my life. And I know when this little girl comes, it's all going to be meant to be, with our timing. But I just wanted to share that with you guys because you just don't know what is going on behind the scenes for somebody and what is out there for them. And it's like, I want to shout it from the rooftops for people to really look into this and really consider it for themselves, because it's not just about losing weight. right? There's so much to it. And I love what we're doing as a company and just an entire community to really shed light on all the benefits and to kind of, battle the shame that sometimes you see out there, or even just some of the misinformation out there as well, and just provide people with really good information that can help them too. So thank you so much, you guys. And thanks for having me on.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. I keep calling the baby Joy.
She's baby Joy. She totally is.
But she's gonna like be like, I bet I'm not naming the baby Joy. So I just want to encourage you, like, if there's something that you heard tonight that was like, there's so many different peptides, there's so many different, and I'll tell you my favorite tool besides the patient portal and our educational series is to use ChatGPT. And so if you're like, I'm going to the website, which is whoever invited you tonight, lemd.com/ in their name, and just do some investigating. And like, so take glutathione and tell ChatGPT, if you haven't done this, it's a little scavenger hunt. Hey, I'm a, let's say, 43-year-old female and I XYZ. Here's what I'd like to improve. Tell me how glutathione can help me injectable. And it gives you like an entire like little story about how that peptide can help you. That doesn't replace your primary care physician or if you have a functional health clinic, or what you're going to get in the patient portal. But it's really fun to take a look at like what would be the best peptides. And what I love about Ellie is that there is something for everyone. I just want to mention, I just got a text as I'm sitting here from one of my husband's friends. He's a 62-year-old male who he's through Ellie. He said, I'm down 55 pounds. And he also uses one of my favorite peptides, BPC 157 TB 500. It's a combination, and that helps a lot with pain and inflammation. And he said, a grown man crying today. I was able to golf 18 rounds with no acetaminophen, nothing but because he's like, I used to have to like stock up on the Advil, the Tylenol, everything to help me. And he didn't need it at all today because of his peptide protocol. And he's like, I just have to tell you, I was able to golf 18 holes with my son, and that is the best gift you could give me. And that's because I opened my mouth when I saw him limping across the way. I was like, oh, hey, come here. I've got something for you. So what I want to encourage you to do is to realize you're worth it. You're worth the investment. And also be your own advocate. Listen to the educational series. There's some great podcasts out there. Get with the person who invited you and start to really educate yourself so that when you're sitting at your physical, you're able to ask the right questions and not be like me for 7 years. Oh, well, you know what? That's just the way it is. When you get older, we gain weight. And I now schedule my physical. If you can relate to this, I don't care if it's at 2 o'clock, and I wear my shoes when I get on the scale. Like, that is a big thing. I don't know how many of you ever were like, I'm going to cancel today. I mean, how silly is that? So you're beautiful, you're worthy, and there's always a next level of you. And I'm just so excited that this community can help to uplift you and educate you, and LEMD has access for you. So thank you so much for hopping on tonight. We love you all. We appreciate you all, and have a great evening.